The classroom smelled faintly of chalk dust and new textbooks, but that was not what caught 17-year-old Ali Raza's attention. His heart was pounding as he stared down at his old, faded sneakers. They were once white, now an uneven mix of gray and brown, their laces frayed like threads of an unraveling dream. Ali was quiet by nature, a boy of few words, known for his sharp mind and soft voice, but today that quietness was a shield. He knew the stares of his classmates burned holes into the worn fabric of his shoes, and worse, his teacher's eyes had already narrowed. Should he speak up? Should he explain why his shoes looked this way? Or should he stay silent and take the shame that was about to come? Would silence protect his dignity or destroy it? And if he spoke, would anyone even believe him? The sunlight streamed through the cracked window panes, casting long golden streaks across the dusty wooden desks. It was a warm afternoon in Lahore, and the fans above creaked as they turned lazily, barely stirring the heavy air. The students were restless, some whispering, some tapping their pencils. A sense of boredom floated in the room until the sound of heels clicking sharply against the floor broke it. Miss Nadia, the English teacher, stood tall and poised at the front, her thin-rimmed glasses perched at the edge of her nose. She was a woman in her mid-30s, respected for her discipline but feared for her sharp tongue. Her gaze swept across the class, stopping at Ali. "Ali Raza," she said, her voice cutting through the murmurs, "stand up." Ali rose slowly, his stomach tightening. "What are those?" She pointed down, lips curling slightly as her eyes landed on his sneakers. The class turned to look. Some giggled softly, others tried to avoid eye contact. "They're my shoes, miss," Ali said in a low voice. "Shoes?" Her voice dripped with mockery. "These look like something pulled out of a garbage bin. Do you think this is how a student should dress in my class? Do you have any respect for the school's reputation?" A murmur ran through the students. Some looked away uncomfortably. Ali clenched his fists at his sides. He wanted to tell her the truth about his father working 2 shifts as a mechanic, his mother stitching clothes late into the night, the bills piling up like storm clouds, but his throat felt heavy. Miss Nadia wasn't done. "No wonder your grades have been slipping. A student who can't even wear decent shoes, how can he focus on studies?" That stung. Ali's jaw tightened, and for the first time, he raised his eyes to meet hers. There was no apology there, only quiet strength. "I can't afford new ones right now," he said softly. A few students gasped. Miss Nadia raised an eyebrow. "Excuses, always excuses. Maybe you should spend less time daydreaming and more time helping your parents, The class laughed nervously. Ali felt heat rise in his chest. Should he shout back? Should he walk out? He imagined his father's tired hands, his mother's soft voice telling him to stay humble no matter what. He lowered his gaze again, biting his tongue. Miss Nadia smirked as if she had won a battle. "Sit down. We have more important things to do than discuss your poor choices." But just as Ali sat, the door to the classroom swung open. A sudden hush fell over the room. There stood Principal Saeed, a tall man in a navy suit, his expression unreadable. His sharp eyes scanned the room, landing first on Miss Nadia and then on Ali, who was still half risen from his seat. "What's going on here?" the principal asked, stepping inside slowly, his voice calm but edged with authority. Miss Nadia stiffened. "Oh, Principal Saeed. We were just beginning the lesson." "Were you?" His eyes flicked to Ali's face, then down at his shoes. There was something in his gaze, a flicker of recognition, maybe even concern. Ali's heart pounded. This was the moment. Would the principal scold him too? Or would he see what no one else did? The classroom was silent except for the creaking fan above. The students leaned forward, sensing the tension like a string pulled too tight. "Miss Nadia," the principal said slowly, "may I have a word with you outside?" Her lips tightened, but she nodded and stepped out with him. The door closed behind them. Ali sat there, staring at the sunlight on the floor. His classmates began to whisper again, their voices a mix of curiosity and gossip. He didn't know what was being said outside that door, but something in his chest told him that this moment, this humiliation, this pause in time, was about to change everything. The classroom was buzzing with whispers after Miss Nadia stepped out with Principal Saeed. Ali sat stiffly at his desk, trying to ignore the curious glances darting his way. His palms were clammy, his heartbeat steady yet loud in his own ears. The laughter that had once pricked his heart now faded into an uneasy silence. Something had shifted in the air. The sunlight had turned a softer hue now, filtering through the dusty windows as if the world itself was holding its breath. Ali fiddled with the edge of his notebook, his thoughts running wild. He imagined the principal's voice. Would he scold Miss Nadia, or would he tell her to handle the matter gently next time? Would they both return together, pretending nothing had happened, leaving him to carry the weight of humiliation alone? Outside, muffled voices were sharp at first and then low. The students strained to listen, but the door blocked the words. Ali caught the faint rise of Miss Nadia's tone, a quick defense perhaps, followed by the principal's calm but firm replies. He felt a strange churn in his stomach, hope mixed with fear. Minutes stretched long. Some students leaned toward him. Ali, what did you say to her? Whispered Hamza, the boy at the next desk. Nothing, Ali replied quietly. I just stood there. Hamza frowned. She shouldn't have said all that. Not in front of everyone. Ali forced a small, hollow smile. It's fine. It's just shoes. But deep down, it wasn't just shoes. It was the story behind them, the unpaid bills, the 3 nights his mother had skipped dinner so the younger siblings could eat, the mechanic shop where his father had taken extra shifts to afford his school fees. Those shoes were not dirt, they were scars. Then the door opened. Miss Nadia stepped in first, her lips pressed tight, her eyes fixed ahead as though the room itself was beneath her. Principal Saeed followed, his expression unreadable but calm in a way that made the room shrink with tension. Class, the principal began, his voice smooth yet commanding, let's continue the lesson shortly. But first, a quick word. His gaze swept across the room and rested on Ali. Ali Raza, come here. The classroom went still. Ali rose slowly and walked toward the front, every step echoing in his mind. Principal Saeed crouched slightly, bringing himself eye level with Ali. These are the shoes, yes, he asked, his voice neither mocking nor soft, just neutral. Ali nodded. How long have you had them? Almost 2 years, sir. The principal examined them for a brief moment, then looked back up at him. And why haven't you replaced them? Ali hesitated, glancing at the class that watched like hawks. His lips parted, then closed again. Should he reveal his family's struggles? Or would that become another source of mockery? Miss Nadia crossed her arms. Sir, this is not the place to discuss his personal. Miss Nadia, the principal said without raising his voice, this is exactly the place. Because you made it one. The class gasped softly. Miss Nadia's face reddened, but she stayed silent. Ali swallowed hard. Sir, we have other things to pay for. My father, he's trying. I didn't want to ask him for more. The principal's eyes softened for a second, then hardened again with resolve. He stood up, his tall figure casting a shadow over the first row of desks. Ali, he said, you did nothing wrong. And no one should ever be judged for what they wear, especially not in a place meant for learning. The room was so quiet now that even the creaking fan seemed hesitant to spin. Miss Nadia forced a laugh, strained and brittle. Principal Saeed, I was only trying to instill discipline. Discipline? His voice sharpened now, just enough to cut. Humiliating a student for his family's hardships is not discipline. It's cruelty. Ali stood frozen, the words washing over him like a wave he didn't expect. For the first time, someone was speaking for him. The principal turned to the class. Education is not about shoes or uniforms. It is about respect, hard work, and dignity. If any of you think laughing at someone's struggle makes you better, think again. Tomorrow, it could be you. A hush fell deeper across the room. Some students looked down at their desks, shame flickering in their eyes. Then the principal faced Ali again. Come to my office after class. I want to talk to you. Ali nodded slowly. Yes, sir. The principal left without another word. Miss Nadia turned back to the board, her face a mask of forced composure. The lesson began, but the words felt hollow in the heavy silence. Ali sat down, his hands still trembling slightly. He wasn't sure what was going to happen in that office later. Would the principal help him or just give him a lecture about hardship and responsibility? And why had he looked at Ali with that strange flicker of recognition earlier? As the final bell rang, students rushed out, some throwing him quick glances of pity, others whispering behind their hands. Hamza lingered by his side. "You okay?" he asked softly. Ali nodded. "I guess." But his heart was far from calm. Something was stirring, an unseen current pulling him into waters he didn't know how to swim in. He made his way to the principal's office, the corridors long and empty, each step heavier than the last. The office door was half open, light spilling through like a path he wasn't sure he wanted to take. Should he knock? Should he just walk in? The school corridors were almost empty now, a hum of students rushing home fading into the warm afternoon air. The sun had tilted westward, throwing long shadows against the cream-colored walls. Ali Raza walked slowly, his fingers gripping the strap of his worn-out school bag as if it were an anchor. His mind was a storm, every word Miss Nadia had thrown at him still echoing, every look from his classmates still fresh as a sting. When he reached the principal's office, the half-open door felt like an invitation and a warning at once. The brass nameplate read Mr. Saeed Farouk, Principal, its edges worn by years of knocks and formal visits. Ali hesitated, his hand hovering near the wood. Should he knock? Should he just walk in quietly? Would the principal scold him for making a scene? Or would he ask questions Ali wasn't ready to answer? He knocked softly. "Come in," came the steady voice from inside. Ali pushed the door gently. The room smelled of books and strong tea. Shelves lined the walls, filled with files and trophies that glinted in the fading light. A large wooden desk stood in the center, papers neatly arranged, and behind it sat Principal Said, straight-backed, calm, but with eyes that missed nothing. "Ali Raza," the principal said, gesturing to the chair in front of him, "sit down." Ali obeyed, placing his bag on the floor. His shoes, those same worn sneakers, made a soft squeak on the polished tile. For a moment, the principal said nothing, simply studied him. Then he spoke, his voice low but clear. "I heard what happened in the class," he said. "Tell me honestly, how do you feel?" Ali blinked, unsure if it was a trick question. "I don't know, sir." "Embarrassed, I guess." "Embarrassed for what? For being poor?" Ali lowered his gaze. "For being laughed at." Principal Saeed leaned back in his chair. "You know, when I was your age, I wore torn sandals to school. Sometimes I didn't even have lunch money. But one teacher, just one, stood up for me. That changed everything." Ali looked up, surprised. There was something in the principal's tone, a weight that wasn't just sympathy, it was memory. "Sir." "I didn't want to cause any trouble," Ali said softly. "My parents are trying hard. My father fixes bikes till midnight, my mother stitches clothes. I didn't want to burden them." Mr. Saeed nodded slowly. "And yet, you come to school every day, do your homework, sit quietly, and take the insults without lashing out. That says something about your character." Ali didn't know what to say. Compliments felt foreign after the morning's humiliation. The principal leaned forward now, his hands clasped. "Ali, tell me, are your grades slipping because of this?" Ali hesitated. "A little. I'd been working evenings at the tea stall near our lane. Just to help out." That hit the principal like a quiet revelation. His eyes softened. "So you're carrying a load most grown men complain about, and you're 17. Ali shrugged faintly. "It's what I have to do." There was a long pause. Then Principal Saeed reached into his drawer and took out a small envelope. He placed it on the table but didn't slide it toward Ali just yet. "Ali, tomorrow there is a scholarship committee meeting. They're looking for a student with not just grades, but resilience. I think you fit that description." Ali's eyes widened. Me? But I don't think I'm the best student. You're not perfect, the principal interrupted gently, but you are persistent. And that matters. Ali stared at the envelope. His heart thudded. Could this be real? Or was it another path to disappointment? Before he could speak, the door opened. Miss Nadia stepped in, her heels clicking sharply on the floor. Her face was controlled now, polite, but her eyes flicked between the principal and Ali with something unspoken unease. Sir, I just came to inform you that the staff meeting will start in 10 minutes, she said, her voice carefully neutral. Thank you, Miss Nadia, Principal Said replied without looking up from Ali. We'll be done here soon. She lingered a moment longer, as if she wanted to hear what was being said, then turned and left. Ali shifted in his seat. Sir, will she be angry? The principal gave a faint smile. Sometimes anger is a sign of guilt, Ali. Don't let that worry you. He finally slid the envelope closer. Take this home. It's a form. If you fill it with your parents' details, we can see if you qualify for full tuition support and possibly more. Ali picked it up with trembling hands. For the first time that day, a small, real smile touched his lips. Thank you, sir. I don't know what to say. Say nothing yet, Mr. Said replied. Just promise me one thing, keep your head high. Poverty is not shame. Dishonesty is shame. Laziness is shame. But hard work is honor. Ali nodded, his eyes burning slightly though he blinked the feeling away. As he stepped out of the office, the corridor felt brighter somehow, even as the sun dipped lower outside. The paper in his hand felt heavier than it looked, like a key, or a test. He didn't know that someone was watching him from the far end of the hallway. A girl, Zoya, the class topper, known for her sharp mind and quicker tongue, had seen him leave the principal's office with that envelope. Her brows furrowed, curiosity sparking. Why him? What was in that paper? And why did the principal seem to favor him now? Ali walked past, lost in thought, unaware that his small moment of hope had already stirred the beginning of whispers, and whispers had a way of turning into storms. The sun had almost set when Ali Raza stepped out of the school gates, clutching the envelope as if it were a fragile piece of glass. The breeze carried the faint smell of roasted corn and city dust, and the distant honk of rickshaws blended with the noise of children spilling out of classrooms. His legs felt heavy, but his heart carried something strange, half relief, half uncertainty. At the far end of the corridor, Zoya stood leaning against a pillar, her sharp eyes following him as he walked away. Zoya was the kind of student teachers loved to point at, bright, competitive, always prepared with the right answer. She was also Miss Nadia's favorite. When she saw that envelope in Ali's hands, something inside her stirred, not anger, but curiosity laced with a faint jealousy. Why would the principal call him? She thought. What's so special about Ali Raza, the boy with old shoes and slipping grades? She didn't say anything then, but her mind started connecting invisible threads. The streets were alive when Ali reached home, an old brick building with peeling paint and a gate that creaked louder than it opened. Inside, the hallway smelled of detergent and spices. His mother, Shabana, sat on the living room floor with a pile of fabric beside her, a needle moving quickly through a half-stitched dress. The fan above spun unevenly, humming like a tired bird. Ali! You're late today, she said, glancing up with tired eyes. Did you eat anything? Not yet, Ami, he replied, setting his bag down. There was something at school. His father, Raza Ahmad, emerged from the small kitchen, wiping grease from his hands. The smell of engine oil clung to his clothes even here. What happened, Beta? Ali hesitated. He placed the envelope on the table. Principal Said called me to his office. He gave me this. His mother put down her needle. Principal? Did you get in trouble? No. I mean, yes, sort of. Miss Nadia said something about my shoes, in front of everyone. His father's jaw tightened. She insulted you? Ali nodded. But the principal, he didn't agree with her. He wants me to apply for a scholarship. Says it might cover fees, maybe even more. The room fell silent for a moment. Shabana picked up the envelope with trembling fingers. Scholarship? That means, you can study without us worrying about next month's fees? Ali sat down beside her. Maybe. He said I have to fill in the details. I need your ID cards and Baba's income certificate. Raza Ahmad rubbed his tired eyes. Allah is kind, but Ali, remember one thing. If they ask you to compromise your self-respect for this, walk away. Understand? Ali nodded firmly. I will, Baba. I just want to study. I don't want this to be another reason for people to laugh. His mother touched his hair gently. Beta, let them laugh. They don't know the battles we fight to put food on the table. That night, as the city lights flickered outside their window, Ali filled in the form under the dim bulb. His younger sister, Aisha, peeked from behind the curtain. Bye, will you get new shoes now? She asked innocently. Ali smiled faintly. Inshallah, Aisha. But first I want to get new books for you. She giggled and ran off, leaving him staring at the lines on the form, his handwriting careful yet trembling. He didn't notice the message that had already started to spread through the school's WhatsApp group. Ali Raza got special help from the principal. Wonder what deal he made. The message had no name attached to it, just a rumor, but Zoya saw it, and so did a few other students who were eager to find drama where none existed. The next morning, the school courtyard buzzed with low murmurs. As Ali walked in, heads turned. Some smiled with hidden meaning, others whispered in pairs. Hamza caught up with him near the staircase. Ali, did you hear? He whispered. Ali frowned. Hear what? They're saying, you got the principal to give you free admission. That you begged him. Ali's chest tightened. That's not true. I know, Hamza said quickly, but you know how this school is. They don't care about the truth, they like stories. Before Ali could reply, Zoya passed by, her gaze cool and unreadable. She didn't say a word, but the curve of her lips hinted she knew more than she should. Inside the classroom, Miss Nadia stood at the board, her voice sharper than usual. Everyone, take your seats. Today we're beginning with a little reminder: discipline and appearance reflect character. If you can't present yourself properly, you have already failed half the battle. Her words stung more than usual now. Ali sat quietly, his hands folded, his eyes fixed on the table. When the bell rang for break, Zoya turned to him. So, what did the principal say yesterday? Ali hesitated. He wants me to apply for a scholarship. Her brows arched. Scholarship? But your marks aren't even close to mine. How come you got the chance? I don't know, Ali replied simply, though his heart clenched at her tone. Zoya leaned closer. Just be careful, Ali. People are already talking. Then she walked away, leaving him staring at the floor, the noise of the classroom fading into a blur. What had started as a moment of hope was now turning into a web of whispers. And somewhere deep inside, Miss Nadia's cold smile hinted she wasn't done yet. The following morning, the school hallways were alive not with laughter, but with whispers that moved like shadows across the walls. Ali Raza walked slowly through the crowd, his school bag slung over one shoulder, the same faded sneakers carrying him step by step into what felt like a storm he had never invited. He could feel the eyes, some curious, some mocking, some even cold. Words floated just out of his reach, but their edges cut all the same. Did you hear? He's getting free tuition now. No, they say he went to the principal's office and cried about his poor family. Cried? I heard he promised to work for the school, like a janitor or something. Ali clenched his jaw, his fingers tightening around the strap of his bag. None of it was true. Yet each sentence added weight to his silence. In the staff room, Miss Nadia sipped her tea with a faint smile. A junior teacher, Mr. Aslam, raised an eyebrow. Heard your student is getting special attention, Miss Nadia? Miss Nadia shrugged, her lips curving slightly. Some children know how to play sympathy very well, Aslam. They make poverty a shield. It's dangerous, you give them an inch, they take a mile. But the principal recommended him, didn't he? Miss Nadia placed her cup down with a soft clink. Principal Saeed is kind-hearted. But sometimes kindness blinds people. Students like Ali, they learn to use that. Her words were soft, almost casual, but each one was a small flame feeding the fire already spreading outside. At lunch break, Ali sat alone under the banyan tree near the courtyard, the envelope from the principal still in his bag. Hamza came running, his face tense. Ali! They're saying you paid the principal. Ali looked up sharply. Paid him? With what? I don't even have lunch money half the time. Hamza sat beside him. I know, Yar, but people, they don't want to believe the truth. They want a story. Ali buried his face in his hands for a moment. Why can't they just mind their own business? Because they're bored, Hamza said dryly. And because you didn't explain anything. Silence makes them invent their own version. Ali sighed. Should I explain? Will it even matter? That evening, when Ali returned home, the tension was already waiting. His father sat by the window, his mechanic's shirt still dusted with grease, his eyes heavy with unspoken worry. Ali, he began slowly, did something happen at school? Ali froze. Baba, why? Mr. Cameron from the next street, his son studies with you. He said there are rumors. Ali's mother looked up from her sewing machine. What kind of rumors? That Ali is getting free fees because he begged the principal. That he made a scene in class. Ali felt a hot flush crawl up his neck. It's not like that. I didn't beg anyone. Miss Nadia insulted me, and the principal, he said I could apply for a scholarship. That's all. His father rubbed his temples. Beta, I believe you. But the world, it doesn't care about truth. Tomorrow they'll say worse. Are you strong enough to face it? Ali clenched his fists. I don't want their approval, Baba. I just want to study. His mother reached out, touching his shoulder gently. Then study. But remember, dignity is quiet. Don't let their noise make you loud. The next day brought no peace. As soon as Ali entered the classroom, a slip of paper landed on his desk. No name, just words scrawled in ink. Enjoy the free ride, beggar boy. He stared at it, his throat tight. Around him, laughter whispered without sound. Miss Nadia walked in moments later, her heels clicking sharp against the floor. She glanced at Ali's desk, saw the paper, and said nothing. Zoya watched too, her brows furrowed. Something in her chest twisted, guilt, maybe. She wasn't the one who started the rumor, but she hadn't stopped it either. When the class ended, she walked up to him. Ali, she said quietly, you should tell them the truth. Before it gets worse. Ali looked up, his voice steady but tired. And if I do, will they listen? Or will they laugh harder? She had no answer. That afternoon, Principal Saeed made an announcement during assembly. Tomorrow, we will have an open meeting regarding scholarship opportunities. Any student with financial hardship may attend. No one should ever feel ashamed to seek help for education. This is a school, not a marketplace. His words were clear, but the glances that followed Ali afterward were sharper than ever. Miss Nadia smiled faintly in the crowd, her hands clasped behind her back. To her, this was a challenge, a principal trying to change the narrative, and a student caught in the storm. Ali walked home again that evening, the city lights blurring as he blinked against the harsh wind. The envelope was still in his bag, untouched. He wondered if he should even submit it anymore. Would this scholarship lift him or bury him deeper under their judgment? He didn't notice that two boys had followed him halfway down the lane, whispering to each other with smirks. Something was building. Something quiet, but dangerous. The following morning began with the heavy scent of rain in the air. Dark clouds pressed low over the school courtyard, the sound of distant thunder rumbling like a warning. Ali Raza walked through the gate, his bag tight across his shoulder, the envelope still hidden in its deepest pocket. He had decided not to give it back yet, not until he knew where he stood. The stares were worse today. They weren't just curious now, they were bold, almost daring him to react. A few students nudged each other as he passed, some whispering loud enough to be heard. "Look, the principal's special guest. Next time maybe he'll get a free bicycle too. Why not? All he has to do is look sad." Ali kept walking. His jaw was tight, his hands clenched inside his pockets, but his steps did not slow. Inside the classroom, the storm was already brewing. A chalkboard message in big, uneven letters read, "Beggar boy equals principal's favorite." Ali stopped in his tracks. His eyes scanned the words, his chest tightening. A ripple of laughter moved across the room. Miss Nadia entered seconds later, her eyes flicking over the board and then to Ali. For a moment, their gazes met. She did not erase the message. She only said, "Everyone, take your seats." Ali swallowed hard and sat down, the words burning into the back of his head. Throughout the lesson, he could feel Zoya's eyes on him, sharp, watchful, not mocking but not entirely warm either. When the bell rang, she caught him at the door. "Ali," she said quietly, "someone's trying to push you. Don't let them win." He looked at her, his face unreadable. "Win what? I didn't even start this game." She hesitated, then said, "Miss Nadia's been talking a lot in the staff room. My aunt is a teacher here. I heard things. Just keep your eyes open." Before he could ask more, she was gone, her braid swinging behind her as she disappeared into the hall crowd. At lunch, two boys from the senior section cornered him near the water cooler. "So, scholarship boy," one said with a smirk, "how much you paying the principal for that favor? Or is it something else, huh?" Ali stared at them, his heart thudding. "Leave me alone." "Or what? You'll cry to him again," the second boy jeered. Hamza rushed in from behind. "Enough. Leave him." The boys chuckled and walked off, throwing mocking bows as they left. Hamza turned to Ali. "Yar, this is getting bad. You need to talk to the principal before this turns into something ugly." Ali shook his head. "If I go now, they'll say I'm complaining again. I'll handle it." But inside, a knot was forming, tight, heavy, and dangerous. That evening, the storm finally broke. Rain poured down on the city as Ali walked home, his shoes squelching with each step. The streets glistened, the smell of wet earth rising into the air. At home, his father was silent at dinner. His mother tried to fill the silence with small talk, but the tension was thick. "Ali," his father said finally, "did you fight with someone?" "No, Baba." "Then why did Mr. Cameron come again today?" "He said there was a scene in your class, that the teachers are saying you're becoming a distraction." Ali put his spoon down slowly. "I didn't do anything. They wrote things on the board. They follow me around. Baba. I'm not the problem." His father's eyes softened, but his voice was heavy. "Sometimes the world makes the innocent carry the blame. But you must keep your head straight. We don't have the luxury of scandals, Beta." Ali looked at the envelope on the shelf, its edges curling slightly now from being carried too long. For the first time, he wondered if this piece of paper was not a key but a curse. The next day, Principal Saeed called him during the second period. The room was dim with rain light, the windows fogged with damp air. "Ali," the principal said, closing the door behind them, "I've heard what's happening." "Who wrote on the board?" Ali shook his head. "I don't know. No one tells me." The principal studied him, his brows knitting. "Do you believe in what you're doing?" "Yes, sir." "Then hold steady. But I need you to tell me the truth. Has Miss Nadia said anything else?" Ali hesitated. "She didn't erase it. She just watched." Mr. Saeed's eyes hardened. "I see." He leaned back in his chair. "This scholarship isn't just about money, Ali. It's about showing this school that respect doesn't come from wealth. But it seems some people fear that. Ali looked down at his wet shoes. What if this makes things worse? The principal's voice lowered. Sometimes the storm gets loudest right before the truth comes out. Be patient. But if anyone crosses the line, I want to know immediately. Ali nodded silently. Outside the office, Zoya waited. She wasn't supposed to be there, but curiosity had anchored her feet. As Ali stepped out, she whispered, "Ali, I think Miss Nadia's planning something. She was talking to the committee today. Something about forged papers." Ali froze. Forged? But my papers are real. Zoya looked him in the eye. I know. But if she convinces them otherwise, this scholarship will become your downfall. For the first time, Ali felt real fear, not just for his dignity, but for his future. The rain outside turned heavier, the sky darkening as if mirroring the weight in his chest. The rain did not stop all night. Streets were rivers by dawn, and the schoolyard looked like a battlefield of puddles. Ali walked through the gate with his shoulders heavy, his mind a storm of its own. He had barely slept. Zoya's warning kept echoing in his ears, forged papers, downfall. He gripped the strap of his worn-out bag tighter. Inside, the envelope felt heavier than bricks. It wasn't just money anymore, it was proof that he had earned something on merit, that he had dignity. And now someone wanted to turn that proof into poison. As Ali entered his classroom, the air felt colder than usual. The students were buzzing with something new, whispers sharp as needles. Hamza hurried over, his face pale. Ali! I heard from the office boy. They're checking your admission file today. Someone complained. Ali's chest clenched. Who? Hamza lowered his voice. Do I need to say? Ali's eyes flicked toward the staffroom door just as Miss Nadia walked out in her spotless beige dress, heels clicking on the wet floor. Her face carried a calm smile, but her eyes, they held something cruel. Something deliberate. She walked past Ali without a word, but her lips curved the tiniest bit, like victory. In the staffroom, Miss Nadia placed a file on the committee table. She spoke softly, with a tone dripping professionalism. Sir, I'm only doing my duty. We cannot allow this school's reputation to be damaged by irregularities. One of the senior teachers raised an eyebrow. You're saying the scholarship was granted wrongly? Miss Nadia leaned in. I'm saying the documents should be verified again. I have certain doubts. The principal, Mr. Said, was absent, called away to a meeting at the district office. Miss Nadia knew this. She had planned for this. Back in class, Ali sat stiff, his fingers gripping the edge of his desk. Every tick of the clock sounded like a drumbeat of doom. He imagined men in coats, opening his file, looking at his father's handwriting, his birth certificate, his grades. What could they possibly find? His documents were real. Unless someone added something. Hamza whispered, Ali, should we tell the principal? Ali shook his head. He's not here today. If I go running now, they'll say I'm guilty. From the back of the class, Zoya watched him. Her mind was racing. She had overheard enough in the staffroom to know Miss Nadia wasn't just hinting, she was pushing. Zoya opened her notebook and scribbled quickly. Meet me after school. It's important. She tore the page, folded it, and slid it under Ali's elbow when no one was looking. Ali opened it and his heartbeat quickened. At lunchtime, Miss Nadia made her move. She stood before the class, holding a sheet of paper with official stamps. Her voice was calm but loud enough for everyone to hear. Students, she said, some of you may not understand, but rules exist for a reason. Scholarships are given to the deserving, and only the deserving. If someone tries to cheat this system, there are consequences. All eyes turned to Ali. The mocking whispers began again. Miss Nadia looked straight at him. Ali Raza, the committee is reviewing your documents. Until then, I suggest you refrain from making any bold claims. Ali stood up slowly. His voice trembled, but his eyes were steel. "Miss, I never cheated. Every mark I earned was mine. If you think otherwise, prove it." Gasps filled the room. No one had ever spoken to Miss Nadia like that. Her face flushed, her lips tightening. "Sit down, Mr. Raza," she snapped. "You'll regret that tone." Ali sat, but inside him, something burned brighter than fear. The day crawled. Rain kept hammering the windows as if the sky itself was angry. When the final bell rang, students scattered into the storm. Ali waited near the old banyan tree, water dripping from his hair, his shoes soaked to the bone. Zoya appeared with her umbrella, her eyes darting nervously around. "Ali, listen carefully. I think Miss Nadia planted something. The office boy said she slipped an extra paper in your file, a false certificate. If the committee sees it, they'll call it forgery." Ali felt the ground tilt beneath him. Why would she do that? Because if she proves you cheated, the scholarship will be cancelled, and she'll get what she wants. Her favorite student, Faraz, was supposed to get it. Everyone knows that. Ali clenched his fists so hard his nails bit into his palms. "So what do we do?" Zoya glanced toward the admin block. "We need that file before they check it tomorrow." Ali stared at her, stunned. "That's impossible. The office is locked." "Not tonight," Zoya said, her voice low. "They're cleaning the staff room now. If we act fast." Before she could finish, a shadow moved behind them. Someone had been listening. A voice broke the rain's roar. Well, look who's plotting." Ali turned and froze. It was Faraz, Miss Nadia's golden boy, a grin stretched across his face like a blade. "What's the hurry, scholarship boy?" Faraz sneered. "Trying to steal something else?" Ali's jaw tightened. "Go away, Faraz." Faraz smirked. "Not a chance. This is going to be fun." The storm outside grew wilder, wind whipping through the trees. Inside Ali's chest, another storm raged, a mix of fear, fury, and something else, resolve. He knew now this wasn't about a scholarship anymore. It was a war. And tonight, someone was going to lose. The rain had stopped, but the streets were slick, the air heavy with that strange calm that comes after a storm. The school building loomed against the night sky, its windows like dark eyes, the main gate closed but not locked. The guard had gone home early, the electricity flickered in the distance. Ali stood near the boundary wall, his breath fogging in the cool air. Zoya arrived minutes later, clutching her school bag and a small flashlight. Her braid was damp from the drizzle, her eyes bright but nervous. "Are you sure about this?" she whispered. Ali's jaw tightened. "If we don't clear my name now, tomorrow it's over. They'll call me a fraud." Zoya nodded. "Then let's move fast." They climbed the side gate carefully, their shoes slipping on the wet metal, and dropped inside. The courtyard was silent except for the drip-drip of water from the trees. Faraz watched from the other side of the road, leaning against his father's car. He had followed them since they left their streets, a smirk playing on his lips. In his pocket was his phone, its camera already recording. "Let's see how our hero explains this to the committee," he muttered, pulling his hood tighter. Inside the school, Ali and Zoya crept past the silent classrooms. Their flashlights threw long, shaky shadows on the walls. Each creak of the old building made Zoya flinch. "Which room?" she whispered. "The admin office," Ali said. "Third door past the science lab." They reached it and found it locked. Ali pressed his forehead against the wooden door. Of course, they would lock it. Zoya's eyes darted around. Wait, the window. One of the side windows had a loose latch. Ali pried it open, the wood groaning as if protesting. They slipped inside, landing softly on the cold tiled floor. Stacks of files towered on shelves, their labels faded. The air smelled of paper and dampness. Zoya lit her torch low. "Where do we start?" Ali scanned the labels. Raza, here." He pulled out a thick folder, his file. His hands shook as he flipped it open. His real certificates were there, his grades, his attendance sheet. But in the middle, there it was. A sheet with a bold header, special recommendation, head office approval. Ali's eyes widened. This isn't mine. Zoya leaned over. Look at the signature, it's fake. They used a rubber stamp. Ali's heartbeat thudded. This is the trap. They planted it so it looks like I faked approval. Suddenly, the sound of footsteps echoed down the corridor. Zoya froze. Someone's coming. Ali shut the file, tucking the false paper into his bag. We need to get out. Now. The footsteps grew louder. A shadow passed the window. Faraz stepped into the doorway, his phone's flashlight blazing. Caught you. Ali's stomach dropped. Faraz grinned like a predator. Midnight thieves, huh? This is going straight to Miss Nadia. Zoya stepped forward. Faraz, you don't understand. That paper, she forged it. Faraz laughed. Nice story. But I've got the video. He raised his phone and Ali lunged. The two boys collided in the middle of the room, their shoes scraping the tiles, hands grappling. The phone fell, its screen cracking as it hit the floor. Stop it. Zoya hissed. You'll wake the whole street. But the fight was clumsy and desperate. Faraz pushed Ali into the shelf, files rained down like paper storms. Ali grabbed the phone, shoved it deep into his pocket, and ran. Zoya, go. They bolted out the window, the rain-slick courtyard glinting under the moonlight. Behind them, Faraz shouted threats, his voice echoing against the walls. They didn't stop running until they reached the broken fence at the far end of the ground. Panting, soaked with sweat and drizzle, Ali leaned against the wall, clutching his bag. Zoya stared at him. Ali, that video, it could ruin you. Ali looked at the phone in his hand, its screen flickering. Not if he doesn't have it anymore. But tomorrow, Zoya whispered, Miss Nadia will go all out. This isn't over. Ali's gaze hardened. Then we fight tomorrow. With the truth. Faraz's distant voice echoed through the rain-soaked night, You're finished, Raza. Tomorrow, everyone will see what you really are. Ali tightened his grip on the fake paper. His decision was clear now, running wasn't an option anymore. He was going to expose her. Even if it meant standing alone. The next morning carried the weight of a storm, even though the rain had stopped. The school courtyard was slick, the air sharp with that damp smell left behind by a heavy night's downpour. Students huddled in groups, their voices low but quick. Whispers spread faster than the morning bell. Ali stepped through the gate, his bag heavy with the file he had recovered. Zoya walked beside him, her eyes darting to every cluster of murmuring faces. They could feel it, the rumor had already been unleashed. There he is, someone whispered. They say he broke into the school last night. Miss Nadia has proof. A video. Ali kept walking. His shoes, still damp from the night before, squeaked with each step. He didn't look back. The first class had barely begun when a message arrived. The principal was still away on district work, but the vice principal had called for an assembly in the hall. Students filed in, curious and buzzing. Miss Nadia stood at the center, her beige dress immaculate, her expression calm but sharp. Beside her, Faraz leaned casually against the wall, a plaster on his wrist for effect, his phone clutched like a trophy. Students, Miss Nadia began, her voice carrying over the restless crowd, our school believes in honesty, discipline, and fairness. But sometimes, those values are threatened. She turned to the screen behind her. Last night, a serious incident occurred. Someone broke into the administration office, tampered with official documents, and attempted to steal school property. Gasps rippled through the hall. Ali felt the air tighten around him. And we have evidence, she continued. A video, captured by a vigilant student. Faraz stepped forward, smirking as he connected his phone to the projector. The screen flickered to life. The video played. Grainy, shaky, but enough. Two silhouettes creeping through the office. One of them unmistakably Ali. Murmurs exploded through the crowd. Some looked shocked. Others smirked knowingly, as if their suspicions had been confirmed. Miss Nadia crossed her arms. This is what happens when rules are ignored. When greed overtakes gratitude. She pointed at Ali. Ali Raza, step forward. The hall went silent. Ali rose slowly, his heart thudding. Zoya stood up too, but he gestured for her to wait. He walked to the center, the entire school watching. Is this how you do justice? He said quietly, but his voice carried. You show half a truth and call it the whole? Miss Nadia's eyes narrowed. Are you denying this video? I'm saying you know what was in that office. You know what you planted in my file. The hall erupted, gasps, whispers, some laughter. Miss Nadia's face hardened. Watch your tongue, boy. You are already standing on thin ice. Ali pulled the forged paper from his bag and held it high. This wasn't mine. It was placed in my file to destroy my name. And you know it. A murmur of confusion swept through the hall. Faraz stepped forward, his voice dripping with mockery. Oh, so now the thief claims to be a hero? Ali turned to him. Why are you so desperate to see me fall, Faraz? Is it because this scholarship wasn't yours? Faraz's smirk faltered for a second, but Miss Nadia cut in quickly. Enough. This matter will be taken to the disciplinary board. Until then, Ali Raza, you are suspended from all school activities. The hall buzzed again, a wave of voices crashing together. Zoya finally stepped forward, her face flushed. This isn't fair. You didn't even let him explain how he got that paper. Miss Nadia's eyes flashed. Miss Zoya, I advise you not to involve yourself in matters that do not concern you. They do concern me, Zoya shot back, her voice trembling but firm. Because this is my school too. And I won't watch someone be destroyed for telling the truth. The crowd stirred, some impressed, some shocked, some already picking sides. By the time the bell rang, the school was divided. Some whispered that Ali was brave. Others said he was finished. Faraz lingered by the corridor, smirking as Ali passed. Enjoy your last day here, scholarship boy. Tomorrow, you'll be a headline. Ali didn't answer. He walked straight out of the hall, Zoya following close behind. You did the right thing, she said quietly. Did I? Ali muttered. Because now, I'm exactly where she wanted me, alone, cornered, and one step away from being thrown out. Zoya looked at him, her jaw set. Then we make our next step count. The principal returns tomorrow. We show him everything. Ali nodded slowly, his fingers tightening around the forged paper. Tomorrow, this ends. But as they walked out of the school gates, a black car pulled up. Inside, a man in a formal suit stepped out, holding a briefcase. He walked straight to the principal's office with Miss Nadia waiting at the door, her smile thin and cold. Ali watched them from a distance, a chill running down his spine. What's that? Zoya whispered. Ali stared at the briefcase. Evidence delivery, or something worse. The sun dipped behind the clouds, casting long shadows across the wet courtyard. Tomorrow was going to be war. The sky was clear the next morning, but the tension in the air was thicker than the previous night's storm. Students gathered in clusters, waiting for something big to happen. Rumors moved like smoke through the hallways. Some said Ali would be expelled, others whispered that the principal had called in the education board to make an example out of him. Ali walked in with his head high, but his hands were tight on the strap of his bag. Inside, the forged paper rested like a piece of fire waiting to burn. Zoya walked a step behind him, her face pale but her eyes steady. They'll try to corner you today, she whispered. Don't lose your temper. Speak only the truth. Ali nodded. Truth is all I have left. At 10 o'clock sharp, Principal Saeed returned. The school's atmosphere shifted the moment he stepped through the main door. His presence was different from the vice principal's. He wasn't loud, but the staff knew his eyes missed nothing. Miss Nadia was already waiting, a file clutched in her manicured hands. Faraz lingered behind her, phone in his pocket, pretending to look innocent. "Sir, we need an urgent meeting," Miss Nadia said, her tone respectful but brimming with false concern. "There's a matter of misconduct involving a student." "I have the evidence." Principal Saeed glanced at her, then at the murmuring students nearby. "In my office." "Call the boy." The office smelled faintly of damp paper and strong tea. The principal sat behind his desk, Miss Nadia on one side, Faraz standing like a witness, and Ali with Zoya sitting quietly at the corner chair. The atmosphere felt like a courtroom. "Ali Raza," the principal began, his voice calm but firm, "I left this school in peace and returned to find chaos. Tell me your side." Miss Nadia was quick to interrupt. "Sir, with respect, the evidence speaks for itself." She handed over the video, neatly clipped with the forged paper inside the file. "Caught red-handed, breaking into the office, tampering with official documents." Ali kept his eyes on the principal. "Sir, I entered the office to protect my file. Someone planted this forged document in it to frame me." Principal Saeed examined the paper. His brows furrowed. "Where did you find this?" "In my file, sir. It wasn't there before." Miss Nadia leaned forward. "He has no proof of that claim." "But I have a video." Faraz smirked. "I saw him with my own eyes." Zoya finally spoke. "Sir, with all due respect, I was there too. He didn't tamper with anything. He found that paper, someone else put it there." Miss Nadia turned sharply. "And how would you know, Miss Zoya? Are you part of this?" "No, ma'am," Zoya said, her voice steady. "But I heard you talking in the staff room. You said, if this doesn't work, nothing will." The room fell silent. Miss Nadia's face froze for a second before she composed herself. "Childish imaginations," she scoffed. The principal tapped the paper again. "This stamp, it looks different. Who signed this?" Miss Nadia opened her mouth, but Ali spoke first. "Look at the date, sir. It's after the scholarship was already granted." The principal nodded slowly. "That is unusual." Faraz stepped forward. "Sir, are you really going to believe him? He's from a poor family. He would do anything to stay here." Ali turned his head sharply. "Yes, I am from a poor family. But I don't steal dignity to climb. I earn it." The principal raised a hand, silencing them both. "Enough." Minutes passed in tense silence as the principal examined every sheet. His fingers traced the forged signature. His eyes narrowed. "Miss Nadia," he said finally, "who first brought this matter to you?" Miss Nadia's fingers tightened around her file. "I received an anonymous tip, sir. I only did my duty." The principal's gaze lingered on her for a moment too long. Anonymous tips can be dangerous when they become weapons. Zoya's eyes flicked to Ali. For the first time in days, a flicker of hope crossed his face. Then the principal stood. "Until this is investigated fully, Ali Raza remains a student of this school. He will not be suspended." Faraz's jaw dropped. Miss Nadia forced a thin smile. "Sir, are you sure that's wise?" "What if?" "What if," the principal interrupted, "we are punishing the wrong person?" He looked at Ali. "Bring me the originals of your certificates tomorrow morning. If they match, this forgery will lead us to the real culprit." Ali nodded. "Yes, sir." As they left the office, the hallway buzzed again. Faraz brushed past Ali, his voice low and venomous. "This isn't over. You just got lucky today." Ali didn't answer. Zoya whispered, "He's scared now." Ali tightened his grip on the bag. "Scared people are dangerous. We need proof that clears everything. Real proof." Outside, the sun broke through the clouds, but its light felt thin, fragile, like a promise not yet kept. Miss Nadia stood by the staffroom door, watching them with a calm smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Enjoy your little victory," she murmured as they passed. "Tomorrow, the game changes." That night, the city seemed quieter than usual, yet Ollie couldn't sleep. The hum of the ceiling fan above his head did little to drown out the storm of thoughts spinning inside him. The principal had given him a temporary shield, but Miss Nadia wasn't the type to surrender after one setback. He could almost hear her cold voice in the back of his mind, "Tomorrow, the game changes." Ollie lay awake until midnight. His father's snores echoed faintly from the next room, his mother's soft cough came from the kitchen as she made tea for herself, restless too. They all felt the tension. Suddenly, the phone rang. A harsh, unexpected sound cutting through the silence. His father picked it up, his voice rough with sleep. "Hello? Yes, this is Roz's residence." Ollie sat up. His father's tone changed from curious to tense. "What? Tampered documents?" "No, my son would never." "Who are you?" But the caller had already hung up. Ollie stepped into the living room, his face pale. "Baba, who was it?" His father looked at him, his expression clouded. "They didn't say. But they warned me, said the school is preparing a case against you. They said we should think about withdrawing you quietly to avoid humiliation." Ollie's fists clenched. "Miss Nadia," he whispered. "She's going after my family now." At school the next morning, the air felt thicker. Every step Ollie took was followed by whispers that carried just enough for him to hear. "His father's been called. They say he might get blacklisted from all the city schools." Serves him right. Imagine faking papers. Hamza met him by the staircase, worry etched deep into his face. "Ollie, this is spreading fast." Faraz posted something online. "It's already in the parent groups." Ollie exhaled sharply. Let him post. Lies can't win forever. Hamza shook his head. Lies win a lot before they fall. Zoya entered the scene like a gust of sharp wind, quiet but urgent. She grabbed Ali's sleeve and pulled him toward the library's empty corner. "I found something," she whispered. She opened her notebook and showed a page with scribbled notes, fax logs, 7:42 p.m., forged document entry from Nadia's ID. Ali's eyes widened. "Where did you get this?" "My aunt works in the office. She saw the log sheet by mistake and told me." Miss Nadia used her own login to add the document digitally before the paper was placed in your file. Ali's breath quickened. "That's it. That's the proof." Zoya's expression darkened. "It's not enough. Without the actual digital log or a witness statement, they'll call it gossip. And if my aunt speaks up, she might lose her job." Ali closed his eyes. "So, we're still one step behind." That evening, as Ali walked home, a black car slowed beside him. The window rolled down at Faraz, his smile as thin as a blade. "Going somewhere, hero?" he said. "My mom says the school board might visit your house tomorrow. Big meeting. Maybe they'll bring cameras." Ali didn't reply. He kept walking. Faraz leaned out, his voice low. "You can still stop this, you know. Leave the scholarship. Apologize. Disappear quietly. That's the smart move." Ali turned, his eyes steady. "The smart move is to stop being a puppet." Faraz's smile flickered, then hardened. "You'll regret that." The car sped off, leaving a thin trail of dust behind. Later that night, Ali's father sat him down. The television hummed in the background, showing news that no one was watching. "Ali," his father said quietly, "I've worked in this city for 30 years. I know how these things work. When powerful people decide someone must fall, truth comes last." Ali's throat felt tight. "So, you want me to give up? Just walk away?" His father sighed. "I want you safe. This world is not kind to boys who fight against walls." Ali looked at the forged paper on the table. "Baba, if I leave now, I'll always be the boy who ran. I can't live with that." His father studied him for a long moment, then nodded slowly. Then fight. But fight clean. Don't let them make you like them. At midnight, Ali's phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. Stop digging. Or next time, we don't just call your father. Ali stared at the message, his stomach twisting. He didn't reply. He only saved the number, and for the first time, his hands trembled, not from fear, but from the weight of what he was about to do. Tomorrow, the principal would demand original documents. But Ali now knew this wasn't just about papers. It was a war of reputation. And Miss Nadia was willing to drag his family through the mud to win. Zoya sent one last message before he finally closed his eyes. Ali, I think I can get the log sheet tomorrow morning. But it's risky. If I'm caught, they'll expel me too. Should I do it? Ali stared at the glowing screen, the night pressing against his window. He typed back, yes. But be careful. We end this together, or not at all. The next morning, the school corridor was alive with a strange tension. It wasn't the usual pre-class chatter, it was quieter, more watchful, like the air before a storm. Ali walked in, head high but chest tight, aware of eyes on him that once admired him, now weighed him. Hamza fell into step beside him. Did you sleep? Not really, Ali replied, keeping his voice steady. Today something changes. Either for me, or for them. Hamza glanced at his friend's face and saw a firmness that made him uneasy. Zoya messaged me early. She's going in now. Ali's jaw tightened. He had told her not to rush, but she was stubborn. She believed justice wasn't something you waited for, it was something you grabbed. Meanwhile, in the administrative wing, Zoya's heart pounded as she stood before the office door. Her aunt had given her the key, reluctantly whispering, 5 minutes. No more. She slipped inside. The faint smell of paper and ink filled the room. Computers hummed quietly, files stacked like soldiers waiting for command. She moved quickly, her fingers trembling as she searched for the log sheet. There, it was on the third desk, slightly hidden under a pile of marked reports. She snapped a photo with her phone. Got it, she whispered. But then. Looking for something, Zoya? The voice froze her blood. Miss Nadia stood at the doorway, her smile slow and sharp. Zoya turned, clutching her phone instinctively behind her back. I was just dropping off something for my aunt. Miss Nadia stepped closer, heels clicking against the tiled floor. Really? Or were you digging for your little friend Ali? Zoya's throat went dry. I don't know what you mean. Miss Nadia's hand shot out, grabbing her wrist. You think you can outsmart me, child? You think this school belongs to boys who wear torn shoes and cry when they're told the truth? Zoya tried to pull free. Let go. But Nadia only smiled. I'll let you go. But first, you'll hand me that phone. At the same time, Ali sat in the classroom, staring at the clock. It had been 15 minutes since Zoya had gone in. Too long. He stood up suddenly. Where are you going? Hamza asked. Library, Ali said, but his voice lacked conviction. He moved quickly down the hall, every step feeling heavier. Then he heard it, a muffled sound near the office corridor. A voice. Zoya's voice. He rushed forward just in time to see Miss Nadia step out, Zoya's phone in her hand, her own face calm like nothing had happened. Zoya followed, her eyes flashing at Ali but saying nothing. Ali, Miss Nadia said sweetly, good morning. I was just about to call you. The principal wants to see you both. Inside the principal's office, the air was stiff. Mr. Kaleem sat at his desk, hands folded. Ali, Zoya, I have received disturbing news. It seems you two have been sneaking into staff areas without permission. That is a serious violation. Ali's heart sank. Sir, that's not what happened. Zoya was. She was trespassing, Nadia interrupted smoothly, placing Zoya's phone on the table. And this? A picture of confidential logs. Do you know what that means? The principal frowned. Miss Nadia, may I see this photo? But when he opened it, the screen was blank. The photo was gone. Deleted. Zoya gasped softly. She knew she had taken it. She knew. Ali stared at Nadia. Her lips curved ever so slightly. After they left the office, Zoya whispered, she deleted it. She must have while she had my phone. Ali placed a hand on her shoulder. At least now we know the truth. She's desperate. But desperation could be dangerous. That evening, a knock sounded at Ali's door. When he opened it, his cousin Sammy stood there, looking uneasy. I need to talk to you, Sammy said, stepping inside. Ali, I've been called to the office tomorrow. Miss Nadia said I might get a scholarship if I cooperate with her. Ali frowned. Cooperate? How? Sammy looked away. She wants me to say I saw you take something from the office last month. If I sign a statement, she promises to help my admission next year. Ali's stomach twisted. And you? What did you say? Sammy's eyes darted nervously. I didn't agree. Yet. That night, Ali sat in the dim glow of the kitchen light, the house asleep. He stared at his worn-out shoes by the door, the same shoes that had started all this. He whispered to himself, how did it come to this? Over shoes, over pride, or over power? His phone buzzed again, this time a voice note from an unknown number. You should have left quietly, boy. Now, even your friends won't save you. Ali deleted it, his hands steady now. They had crossed the line. Tomorrow, he would stop waiting for justice to come to him. He would drag it out into the open. But what he didn't know was that the board was meeting the next day and Miss Nadia had arranged a special witness to testify. The morning felt heavier than any before. Clouds hung low over the city, and a faint drizzle slicked the streets, as if the sky itself had sensed the tension that would unfold that day. Ali walked towards the school gates, each step echoing louder in his chest than on the wet pavement. Hamza was waiting by the gate, clutching a folded umbrella. They've called the board, he said quietly. It's in the main hall. Teachers, parents, some officials, even the local press. They want to make it big. Ali adjusted the strap of his worn-out bag. Good. Let them all hear the truth. But his voice carried a hint of doubt. What if the truth wasn't enough this time? The main hall was set like a stage for judgment. Rows of chairs, a long table where the board members sat, and at the center, Mr. Kaleem, his face unreadable. Beside him, Miss Nadia stood in a sleek gray dress, her posture perfect, her expression calm as stone. Students whispered in the back rows. Parents murmured along the sides. Hamza and Zoya sat near the corner, eyes fixed on Ali as he took his place before them all. Ali Raza, the principal began, you have been accused of presenting forged documents to secure your place in this school and manipulating staff access to hide the truth. Today, you will have a chance to defend yourself. Ali raised his chin. I have nothing to hide, sir. The documents were planted. I was framed. Miss Nadia's voice slid in like a cold knife. And you expect us to believe that? Convenient, isn't it, that the evidence always points to someone else? The first witness was called, a janitor, old and quiet, who said he had seen a boy near the office on the night of the tampering. Who was it? A board member asked. The janitor hesitated. His eyes flicked toward Nadia, then down at the floor. I cannot say clearly. It was dark. But the shoes, they looked like his. A ripple ran through the hall. Ali's fists clenched at his side. The shoes again. Always the shoes. Then came the moment he feared, the special witness. When the door opened, his heart sank. Sammy. His cousin. Sammy stepped forward, head low, hands trembling. State what you know, Nadia prompted, her voice almost gentle now. Sammy glanced at Ali, guilt flickering in his eyes, then looked down at his paper. I saw Ali near the office last month. I didn't think much of it then. But maybe he was checking something. Gasps. Murmurs. A board member leaned forward. So you confirm you saw him where the documents were kept? Sammy nodded slowly. Ali's voice cracked out, sharp. Sammy. You know that's not true. Sammy flinched but said nothing more. Zoya half rose from her chair, whispering fiercely, he's lying under pressure. They promised him something. But the board continued. Ali felt the ground shifting beneath him. One by one, small pieces of evidence were stacked, not enough for truth, but plenty for doubt. Finally, the principal said, Do you have anything to defend yourself, Ali? Any proof? Ali looked around the room. His voice was steady but heavy. Proof gets deleted here. Witnesses are bought. But yes, I have something, courage to say I did not cheat. And one day, when this truth comes out, every name in this room will be remembered for the choice they made. The hall went quiet. For a moment, even Nadia's smile faltered. As the board began to discuss, a woman entered quietly through the side door, an elderly staff member, the one who had first noticed the strange entry logs. She slipped a sealed envelope into the principal's hand and whispered something. Nadia noticed her. Her jaw tightened. The principal opened the envelope, brows furrowing as he scanned the page, a copy of the original digital log. Where did you get this? He asked. The woman said softly, from the archive this morning. It was nearly deleted. Ali's heart leapt. Zoya clasped her hands together. But before the principal could speak further, Nadia's voice cut in, smooth but now with an edge. Principal Kaleem, I must object. That document is unofficial, taken without clearance. It cannot be admitted as evidence. The board members murmured. Some nodded. Some frowned. The principal sighed, setting the envelope aside. We will need to verify this before any decision. Until then, the accusations stand. Ali left the hall that day not cleared, not condemned, trapped in the gray space of waiting. Students avoided his eyes. Sammy walked away without a word. Zoya caught his arm. You saw it, she whispered. That log proves everything. But they're stalling. Ali nodded slowly. Then we don't wait anymore. If they want a public war, we give them one. That evening, as rain drummed against the windows, Ali opened his old phone and recorded a message, not for the board, not for the principal, but for the city. My name is Ali Raza. I am accused of something I didn't do. Tomorrow, I will show the truth. And if they silence me, you will all know why. He sent it to Hamza. To Zoya. To 3 parent groups he knew. And finally, he sent it to a local reporter who had once visited their school. Miss Nadia might have silenced the board. But the city was listening now. The rain did not stop that night, and neither did the whispers. By morning, Ali's voice had traveled far beyond the walls of his school. His video, shaky but full of conviction, had been shared in student groups, parents' chats, and even a few local news pages. By the time the sun rose, it had thousands of views and more than 100 comments. Look at this boy, one comment read. If he's lying, why is he risking everything? Another, this is bigger than a scholarship. This is about power. Ali woke to dozens of messages. Hamza had sent a string of them. Ali, you're trending in our district. Reporters are asking for interviews. Be careful. Nadia won't stay quiet. Zoya wrote just one line. You started a fire. Now it will burn or cleanse. At school, the atmosphere had changed. Some students nodded at him in silent respect, others avoided him entirely, afraid to be caught in the crossfire. Teachers whispered behind closed doors. The principal's office remained locked all morning, the blinds drawn. Then came the first announcement. Attention, students and staff. The scheduled hearing for this afternoon is postponed due to ongoing review. Please refrain from sharing unverified content online. Disciplinary action will be taken against those who disrupt school order. Ali listened from his seat, his lips pressing into a thin line. They were trying to buy time. Meanwhile, in her office, Miss Nadia paced like a caged predator. Her phone buzzed non-stop, calls from the board, from parents, from her own relatives asking what this scandal was about. She slammed the device onto the desk and turned to Faraz, who stood uneasily by the door. "You assured me this boy would fold," she hissed. Faraz swallowed hard. "I didn't think he'd go public. He's just a kid." "He's a problem," Nadia snapped. "And problems are removed before they rot the whole branch." She opened a drawer and pulled out a folder. Inside were copies of witness statements, a few more altered reports, and a letter of suspension already prepared, waiting only for the board's signature. "Tomorrow," she said coldly, "we make him a criminal. And once that stamp is on his name, no one will care about his videos." But Ali was not waiting for tomorrow. During lunch, he met Zoya behind the library, where rainwater dripped steadily from the roof. "They're moving to suspend you," she whispered. My aunt overheard it. Ali's eyes hardened. "Good. That means they're scared." Zoya frowned. "Scared people are dangerous." Ali looked up at the cloudy sky. "So am I." By late afternoon, a small group of reporters gathered outside the school gates. Microphones, cameras, umbrellas, they weren't allowed inside yet, but they were asking questions. Is it true a student exposed forgery? Who is Miss Nadia? Why is the school hiding the log? Parents began to gather too. Some defended the school, others demanded answers. The gatekeeper kept saying the same thing, "No comment, please move alone." Inside, the principal called an emergency staff meeting. Miss Nadia sat beside him, her face a mask of composure, but her fingers tapped restlessly against the table. "We are being ambushed," she said, her voice low but sharp. "This is not about one boy's shoes. This is about discipline. If we lose control now, we lose it forever." A junior teacher raised his hand timidly. "But ma'am, what if the logs are real? What if he really was framed?" Nadia turned her gaze on him, cold and unblinking. "Then the board will decide. Until then, our job is to protect the school's reputation." That evening, Ali sat with his parents at the kitchen table. The television played faint news about a city festival, but none of them watched. His father rubbed his forehead. "Ali, this is getting bigger than us. Reporters, parents, even my workplace heard about it." His mother touched his hand gently. "Beta, are you sure this is the way?" Ali nodded. "If I stay silent, I lose everything. If I speak, maybe I lose anyway. But at least I'll lose as someone who fought." His father exhaled deeply, then finally said, "Then fight. But fight clean. Promise me that." Ali met his eyes. "I promise." Late that night, Miss Nadia made her move. She called a private meeting with 2 board members, Faraz's mother, and a legal consultant. "Tomorrow," she said, her tone clipped, "we release a statement. We show the public that this boy is a troublemaker, a liar, a disgrace to the school's name. We leak a disciplinary record. I already have one drafted. By the time anyone questions it, it will have spread too far to undo." Faraz shifted in his seat. "Isn't that risky?" Nadia's eyes narrowed. "Do you want your scholarship or not?" He fell silent. Meanwhile, Ali's phone lit up again near midnight. A message from an unknown number. "Ali, I have the full log archive. Meet me tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. near the East Gate. Don't bring anyone." Ali stared at it, his heart pounding. Was it a trap? Or the chance he needed? He typed back, "Who are you?" No reply. He looked out the window. The rain had stopped, but the streets glistened like a warning. Tomorrow could set him free, or bury him deeper. The morning air was cold, damp with the memory of last night's rain. The streets were still half asleep as Ali stepped out of his house, pulling his jacket tighter around him. It was barely 6:15 a.m., yet his heart raced like he was walking into battle. The message had been clear, East Gate. Come alone. He had told no one, not even Zoya or Hamza. Trust had become a rare currency in his life, and every coin he had left felt heavy in his palm. The school loomed in the gray light of dawn, its gates locked but its silence louder than any crowd. And there, near the east gate, stood a figure in a long coat, hood up, glancing around nervously. Ali approached cautiously. "Who are you?" The figure lowered the hood. It was the elderly office assistant Zoya's aunt, Mrs. Saima. "You?" Ali whispered. "Why would you risk this?" She looked over her shoulder, then pressed a flash drive into his hand. "Because I saw what they did. I saw Miss Nadia plant that document. And I heard the call they made to your father. They're going too far, Beta. This is the real archive. Keep it safe." Ali's fingers tightened around the drive. "Why me? Why now?" "Because," she said quietly, "tomorrow may be too late." By the time the first students began arriving, Ali was already inside, heart pounding with the weight of the proof in his pocket. He found Zoya in the hallway. "I have it," he whispered. Her eyes widened. "The logs?" "Yes. Everything. Even the timestamp that proves Nadia used her ID." Zoya almost smiled, then caught herself. "Ali, be careful. If she realizes you have this, she'll..." The school speakers crackled suddenly. "Attention, all students and staff. An urgent assembly will be held at 9 a.m. in the main hall. Attendance is mandatory." Ali and Zoya exchanged a look. The trap was already set. At 9 a.m., the main hall was packed. Teachers sat stiffly along the sides, parents in the back, students filling every chair. A banner had been hung hastily, maintaining integrity in education. Miss Nadia stood at the podium, her expression composed, a thick file in her hands. "Dear students," she began, her voice smooth and clear, "our school has always been a beacon of excellence. But sometimes, individuals, driven by greed or pride, attempt to exploit our trust." Murmurs rippled across the hall. Ali felt the spotlight shift toward him, though she hadn't said his name yet. "Recently," Nadia continued, "we discovered a student who not only forged documents but also incited public unrest with baseless claims. For the sake of discipline, the board has decided to suspend him effective immediately." Gasps. Whispers. She held up a letter with the school's stamp. "This is official." Ali rose to his feet slowly. "So this is your justice? Announce a punishment before the truth is heard?" Nadia turned, her lips curved faintly. "Ali Raza, you've already spoken too much." He reached into his pocket, pulling out the flash drive. "Not enough, Miss Nadia." "Not yet." The hall erupted in murmurs. "This," Ali said loudly, "contains the original log archive from your office showing your login, your timestamp, your forgery." Nadia's face froze for a heartbeat, then she laughed lightly. "An interesting prop. But anyone can make a fake file these days." Ali looked at the principal. "Sir, plug it in. See for yourself." The principal hesitated, glancing between them. "If this is authentic, it changes everything. If it's not..." Nadia cut him off. "It's a distraction, sir. He's manipulating us. We cannot allow this chaos to continue." As the argument grew heated, the doors to the hall opened suddenly. A man in a dark suit entered, carrying a press badge and a camera crew behind him. "Excuse me," he said loudly, "local press. We received reports of a forgery scandal. Is this the meeting?" The crowd shifted. Parents began to murmur louder now. The board members whispered among themselves, clearly rattled. Nadia's composure cracked for the first time. Her smile thinned, her hand gripped the podium edge. "This is a private matter." The reporter raised his voice. "Then why are you announcing suspensions publicly? If there is forgery, the public has a right to know the truth, not one side." Ali stepped forward. "Sir, here is the proof." He handed the flash drive to the reporter, bypassing both Nadia and the principal. Nadia's eyes blazed. You will regret this, she hissed under her breath as he walked past. The assembly dissolved into chaos. Some students cheered quietly, others stared in shock. Teachers argued in low voices. The principal tried to restore order, but the noise drowned him out. Ali left the hall with Zoya and Hamza at his side. For a moment, he felt a strange mix of relief and dread. "We have the truth out now," Zoya whispered. "She can't bury it anymore." Ali nodded slowly. "No, but she can still try to burn me with it." That night, as the city buzzed with talk of the leaked evidence, Miss Nadia sat alone in her office. The blinds were closed. A single lamp cast long shadows across the floor. She made a call, one she had avoided until now. "Yes," she said quietly. "Do it. If the board won't act fast, we will make sure the boy never steps in this school again." Her voice hardened. "Tomorrow, his name must mean scandal, not truth." And on her desk lay a folder marked, "Confidential, Police Complaint Draft." The next morning, the winter sky was pale and heavy, the kind that promised no warmth all day. Ali woke to the distant murmur of voices outside his house. At first, he thought it was neighbors chatting. But when he pulled the curtain aside, his heart sank. Two uniformed policemen stood by the gate, talking to his father. One of them held a folder with his name on it. Ali felt his palms grow cold. "It's happening," he thought. "She's making her move." He rushed downstairs just as one of the officers called out, "Ali Raza?" "Yes, sir?" "We need you to come with us for some questioning. There's a complaint filed regarding fraudulent activities at your school." His father stepped forward, anxious. "Officer, my son is innocent. This is a misunderstanding." The officer's tone was calm, almost rehearsed. "We're not arresting him. It's just questioning. Please cooperate." Ali swallowed hard, then nodded. "It's all right, Abu. I'll go. I have nothing to hide." At the police station, the room smelled of old files and strong tea. A single officer sat behind a desk, reading from a typed complaint. "It says here," the officer began, "you forged school records, threatened a teacher, and incited students to protest. Serious allegations, boy. Who told you to do this?" Ali kept his voice steady. "No one. And none of that is true. I exposed a forgery, that's all. I didn't make it, I uncovered it." The officer glanced at the folder. "The teacher, Miss Nadia, claims you hacked into their system." Ali almost laughed in disbelief. "Sir, I don't even own a computer. I used a school tablet to access public logs." The officer leaned back. You're either very brave or very foolish." Meanwhile, word had spread through the school like wildfire. Ali had been taken by the police. Zoya stormed into the principal's office, her fists clenched. "Where is he? Why didn't you stop this?" The principal looked genuinely troubled. "Miss Nadia filed this without consulting me. I only found out an hour ago. You let her turn this into a witch hunt." Zoya's voice cracked. "Do you know what this will do to his life?" The principal rubbed his forehead. "Calm down, Zoya. I'm arranging a board meeting this evening. But you need to understand, she has influence. Connections. It's not easy to stop her without solid ground." Zoya's eyes burned. "Then I'll give you solid ground." By noon, a crowd had started forming outside the school gates. Students whispered, filmed with their phones, sent messages online. A hashtag began to trend locally, #JusticeForAli. Hamza stood on a bench, raising his voice. "You all saw it. He showed the proof. And now they want to silence him? Is that the kind of school we are?" Some teachers watched nervously from the windows. A few shook their heads. One of them, a quiet, middle-aged mathematics teacher named Mr. Imran, turned away, then paused. He had been in the staff room the night the forgery plan was whispered. He had said nothing then. But watching the students rally now, something in him stirred. At the police station, Ali sat waiting. Hours passed. No formal charges, no lawyer, just waiting. He thought of his mother's worried face, his father's trembling hands, Zoya's determined eyes. A constable finally came in. "You can go. For now." "For now?" "Yes. But don't leave the city. And report here again tomorrow." Outside, Hamza and Zoya were waiting. When Ali stepped out, a small group of students cheered softly, clapping his back. "You've become a hero," Hamza said with a crooked smile. Ali shook his head. "Heroes don't get dragged to police stations, Hamza. They get listened to. I'm just surviving." Zoya slipped him a folded paper. "Tonight, 8 p.m. Mr. Imran wants to meet us at the old library. He says he has something." That night, the old library was nearly empty. Shelves of dusted books cast long shadows. Mr. Imran was already there, his hands trembling slightly as he held a file. "I kept quiet because I was afraid," he admitted. "But fear has a price. This," he opened the file, "is a copy of the meeting notes from that night. Nadia instructed the staff to stay silent and let you take the fall. The principal was told it was a board matter. I can't stay silent anymore." Ali took the papers with both hands. "Sir, if you testify, this can end." Mr. Imran nodded slowly. "I will. But be careful. She won't let this go easily." As they left the library, Ali looked up at the cold night sky. Somewhere in the distance, a siren wailed. His phone buzzed, a message from an unknown number. "This is bigger than school now. Walk away, or we will make you disappear." His fingers tightened on the phone. His breath came slow, heavy. For the first time, Ali realized this wasn't just about a pair of shoes or a teacher's insult anymore. It was about power, control, and who dared to challenge it. The city was restless. By dawn, news channels had begun running small headlines: "Student faces police harassment after exposing school forgery." Social media was louder. Videos of the assembly had spread overnight, showing Ali standing up with the flash drive, Miss Nadia cutting him off, and the principal's uneasy silence. By the time Ali arrived at school, a crowd of students had already gathered near the gate, holding placards made of cardboard: "Truth matters, justice for Ali, stop the cover-up." He froze at the sight. Part of him wanted to tell them to go home, it was too dangerous. But another part of him felt the weight of their belief in him. Hamza ran to him, his breath steaming in the cold air. "Ali! They're not backing down. Even some parents joined this morning. The local news van is coming at noon." Ali's heart pounded. "News? That means Nadia will fight back," Hamza finished grimly. Inside the staff room, Miss Nadia paced like a caged wolf. Her phone buzzed constantly. "They're turning him into a martyr," one teacher whispered. "Then we burn the martyr's shrine," Nadia snapped. "The board is with me. I already sent a request to confiscate all external media. By evening, those posts will vanish." She turned to another teacher. "And the file? The one from the old library?" The teacher hesitated. "We couldn't find it in the archive." "Are you sure he has it?" Nadia's jaw tightened. "I am sure. And if that file sees the light of day, I lose everything. So you better hope it disappears before tonight." At lunch break, Ali, Zoya, and Hamza huddled in the back of the science lab. Mr. Imran joined them, glancing over his shoulder. "They're preparing a formal dismissal for you," he said quietly. "Tonight's board meeting is the final strike. If they approve it, you're gone. Your name will be blacklisted from other schools too." Ali clenched his fists. "Then we go public before they strike." Zoya's eyes widened. "Are you sure?" "They already sent that message last night." Ali took out his phone, showing the threatening text: "Walk away, or disappear." "I'm done being afraid," he said. "If they want a war of truth, they'll get it." By afternoon, the protest outside doubled in size. Local reporters arrived, cameras rolling. A journalist approached Ali, mic in hand. Ali Raza, the city is talking about you. Do you have proof of your claims? Ali held up the folder Mr. Imran had given him. Yes. This contains the minutes of the meeting where a forgery was planned, and I have digital logs to back it up. I only want one thing, fairness. For every poor student who's been insulted, humiliated, or crushed because they didn't have the right shoes, the right bag, the right money. The reporter nodded. Would you share this on live television tonight? Ali hesitated for a moment, then nodded slowly. Yes. Tonight. Miss Nadia watched the news feed from her office. Her hands shook with rage. She dialed a number. He's going on air. Stop him. I don't care how. Leak something, smear him, scare his parents, anything. The voice on the other end replied, cold and businesslike, consider it done. At 6 p.m., Ali received another message, this time with a picture of his younger sister walking home from tuition. The text read, cute sister. It would be a shame if she got lost in the crowd. Ali's vision blurred with fury. His hands trembled as he showed the message to Zoya and Hamza. They're threatening my family now, he whispered. If I go on live TV, they might hurt them. Hamza grabbed his shoulder. Ali, listen to me. They're bluffing. They want you silent. Zoya, however, looked torn. What if they're not bluffing? Ali, your sister's safety comes first. Ali stared at the clock. He had 1 hour before the live broadcast. The streets outside the school were now blocked with people chanting his name. News anchors debated his case. Parents whispered about pulling their children from the school. Inside the principal's office, Mr. Imran made a bold move. He placed his resignation letter on the table. I will testify, he said firmly. I'd been silent too long. The principal looked at him in shock. Do you know what this will do to your career? I know what silence already did to my conscience. At 7:30 p.m., Ali stood near the television station van. The reporter greeted him. Ready? This is your chance to clear your name or bury it. Ali's mind raced. If he stayed silent, Nadia would win. If he spoke, his family might pay the price. He closed his eyes for a moment, remembering his father's tired hands, his sister's innocent smile, the cold morning when his teacher insulted his shoes as the whole class laughed. He opened them again, there was fire now. Let's go live, he said. As the red light blinked on the camera, the reporter spoke, we're here with Ali Raza, the student at the center of a growing storm. Ali, what do you want the world to know tonight? Ali took a deep breath. I want them to know that truth doesn't wear expensive shoes. It doesn't come from wealth. It comes from courage. And tonight, I'm here because a lie tried to bury me, but I'm still standing. His voice trembled only slightly. If anything happens to my family tonight, the world will know who did it. Miss Nadia, this message is for you, you cannot silence everyone. The feed cut to commercials abruptly. Someone in the control room had pulled the plug. Ali looked around. What happened? The reporter cursed under his breath. They cut us off. Someone high up doesn't want this aired. As Ali stepped out into the night, a dark car pulled up across the street. The window rolled down just enough for a man in sunglasses to whisper. You made your choice, boy. Now watch how the game changes. The car drove off, leaving only exhaust in the cold air. Ali stood frozen on the pavement, the city's lights flickering against his face. For the first time, he realized this wasn't just a school scandal anymore, it had become a war of influence, and he had just lit the fuse. The night after the broadcast was heavy and tense. Rain drizzled over the streets, making the lamps flicker like restless ghosts. Ali lay awake, staring at the ceiling. Every sound outside made his heart jolt. He thought of the car, the man with the sunglasses, the message about his sister. His phone lay on the side table, dark and silent, yet it felt like a loaded gun waiting to go off. At around midnight, the silence shattered. His sister's scream pierced the night. Ali bolted out of his room. The front door was wide open, rain blowing in. Outside, in the narrow alley, two masked figures ran off on a motorbike, their tail light vanishing into the darkness. His sister sat on the ground, crying, her school bag ripped open, books scattered in the mud. "They didn't hurt me," she sobbed, "but, they said, tell your brother to shut up, or next time we won't miss." Ali clenched his fists so hard his nails dug into his palms. His father called the police immediately, but the line was cold and indifferent. "We'll make a report in the morning." By dawn, the entire neighborhood knew. Women whispered at their doors, men walked Ali's father to the tea stall, shaking their heads in anger. Zoya arrived with Hamza, both pale from the news. "This has gone too far," Zoya said. "They touched your family. This isn't just intimidation now, it's a declaration." Ali nodded slowly. "Then we respond like it's war." Hamza looked uneasy. "But they have power, Ali. Connections. Money. Who's going to stand with us?" Ali's father, who had been silent all morning, finally spoke. His voice was low but steady. "Everyone who's ever been humiliated like we were. Start there." That afternoon, Mr. Imran walked into the local press office carrying his resignation letter and a stack of papers. "I was there," he told the reporters. "I heard them plan the forgery. I stayed silent out of fear. But when a child is threatened in the night, fear is no longer an excuse. Publish this. I'll testify." Within hours, the news shifted tone. It was no longer alleged misconduct, it became whistleblower confirmed school forgery cover-up. The protest at the school doubled again. Now parents were bringing food for the students, local shopkeepers offered water, a group of lawyers arrived with free legal aid. For the first time, Ali felt the ground shift beneath his feet in his favor. Miss Nadia, however, was not done. In her office, she slammed the door shut and made a call. "You told me this would be contained," she hissed. The voice on the other side was calm, older, deeper. "Containment works when your enemy stays small. You've turned him into a symbol. Symbols don't vanish with threats." "Then what do you suggest?" she snapped. There was a pause, then the voice said, "Plan B." "The boy wants a war of truth? Give him one. Leak something about his father. Didn't he once miss a bank payment? Didn't they take charity? Make them look like frauds themselves." Nadia's hand tightened around the phone. "Yes. I can do that." That evening, as the sky turned a deep bruised orange, Ali stood on the school rooftop with Zoya. Below, hundreds gathered with candles. The sight was surreal, light swaying like stars fallen to earth. "They're here for you," Zoya whispered. "You gave them a reason to stand up." Ali's jaw clenched. "Then I can't step back now. They threatened my family to silence me. But now my voice belongs to all of them." Suddenly, Hamza came running up the stairs, panting. "Ali! Turn on the news. They just aired a special report about your father." On the TV screen downstairs, a slick news anchor spoke with rehearsed pity. Sources reveal that Ali Raza's father, once a respected worker, defaulted on community funds and received unauthorized aid. Could this family's history of dishonesty explain the recent forgery scandal at their son's school? Ali stared at the screen, his chest tightening. His father sat slumped on the sofa, eyes wet but silent. "It's a lie," his father whispered. "They twisted it. Years ago, I delayed a payment because your mother was sick. I paid every penny back." Ali turned to the cameras now flashing outside their house, reporters shouting questions. "They're trying to bury us," Ali murmured. "But the more they dig, the more people see the dirt on their hands." Later that night, a message arrived on Ali's phone, not from a blocked number this time, but from Mr. Imran. "Tomorrow, we go to the education board with lawyers. But I also found something, Nadia isn't acting alone. Her backer, it's someone in the city council. Someone with a contract to privatize the school land." Ali read the message twice. So that was it, not just a vendetta, not just humiliation, this was business. Greed dressed up as discipline. He looked out at the quiet street, where the candles had burned low but not out. They want our silence because they already sold our school, he whispered to himself. Now they'll see what happens when the poor stop being quiet. As midnight approached, a car slowed outside once again, the same dark one. This time it didn't stop. But a rock hit their gate, wrapped with a note. Final warning. Tomorrow is your last day to vanish. Ali picked it up, his hands steady now. The fear was still there, but it had turned into something else, resolve. They gave me a last day, he said quietly, but tomorrow, I'll give them their first defeat. The morning broke cold and gray, as though the sky itself held its breath. Outside Ali's house, a crowd had already formed, students, parents, a few teachers, even strangers who had read about the case. Some carried banners, "Stop the lies, schools are for learning, not corruption, justice for Ali and his family." Ali stood at the doorway, his scarf tight around his neck, his eyes heavy with sleeplessness but burning with resolve. His father placed a hand on his shoulder. "Son," he said quietly, "are you sure about this march? They've already threatened you twice." Ali looked at his father, tired, worried, humiliated on television, and nodded. "If I stop now, they win forever. This isn't just my fight anymore." His little sister peeked from behind the curtain, clutching her torn school bag. "Come back safe, bye." He bent down, smiled faintly, and whispered, "I will." By mid-morning, the march began. Hundreds moved through the streets toward the city's education board building. Chants echoed against the walls of closed shops. Local news channels followed from the side, cameras capturing every step. Zoya walked beside Ali, her face half covered with a shawl against the cold air. "They'll be waiting," she warned. "Nadia won't just watch this on TV. She'll try something." Hamza, holding a megaphone, grinned despite the tension. "Let them try. The city's watching." Inside a glass-walled office at the education board, Miss Nadia stood with her coat draped over one arm. Her phone buzzed with constant updates. "They're moving faster than we expected," said a man in a dark suit beside her. He was older, broad-shouldered, with a city council pin on his lapel. "You promised this wouldn't spill into the streets." Nadia's jaw tightened. "I promised control. But you wanted to rush the privatization. Now the whole city is watching." The man smirked coldly. "Then stop the boy, Nadia. Discredit him. We can't afford the board to back out now, the land contract is already drafted." "And if he exposes your name?" she asked quietly. His eyes narrowed. "Then you'll go down first." The march reached the square in front of the education board just before noon. The air was heavy with anticipation. Policemen stood in a line, not hostile but wary. Ali stepped forward, raised the file Mr. Imran had given him, and spoke into the megaphone. "We are here for truth. This school belongs to the children, not to greedy deals made in dark rooms. This is not just about me, it's about every student told they were less because they were poor, every family silenced because they had no power." The crowd roared in support. Suddenly, a commotion broke out at the edge of the square. A group of men, faces half covered, began shouting, pushing people, throwing pamphlets accusing Ali of fraud. "They're plants," Hamza growled. "Hired to break this up." The police moved in, but confusion spread quickly. Shouts turned to shoves. The peaceful march began to tilt toward chaos. Ali found himself grabbed by the arm, yanked aside by two of the masked men. "Time to end your little parade," one hissed. He struggled, but before they could drag him toward the van waiting nearby, a voice cut through the noise. "Let him go." Mr. Imran appeared with two other teachers, standing between Ali and the men. Cameras swung in their direction. The crowd began shouting the men down, some students pulling at their jackets until one mask slipped, revealing the face of a council security officer. Gasps rippled through the square. Reporters zoomed in. Ali caught his breath. Now the city sees who's behind this. Inside the education board building, the older man watching from the window swore under his breath. "It's over. Pull the plug. But Nadia wasn't ready to give up. She stepped into the crowd with a forced smile, clapping her hands. Everyone, please. This chaos is unnecessary. We will resolve this in the board meeting. Ali turned to her, voice steady but sharp. You had your chance to resolve it quietly. Now the truth comes in front of everyone. The board meeting began behind closed doors that afternoon. Ali, his father, Zoya, Hamza, Mr. Imran, and 2 lawyers were allowed in as representatives. Nadia sat across the table, her eyes cold but her smile unbroken. One of the board members spoke first. We have received disturbing evidence on both sides. There are forgery claims, land privatization allegations, threats to a student's family. This is beyond a school dispute. This is a civic matter now. The councilman in the suit leaned forward. With all due respect, these are baseless conspiracy theories. The boy is being used by outsiders to destabilize a reputable institution. Ali placed the folder on the table and slid it across. Everything is in there. Meeting notes, digital logs, timestamps, even the threats sent to my family. The board chair opened the folder, his expression darkening as he scanned the first pages. Hours passed. The crowd outside didn't leave, they lit candles again as dusk fell. Rumors spread that the board was split, half wanted a full investigation, half wanted to bury it quietly. Ali stepped out on the balcony with Zoya. If they delay this, people will lose hope, he murmured. She looked at him, her eyes fierce. Sometimes the night is longest before the dawn. Down below, the crowd started chanting his name again, louder than before. Inside, the older councilman made one last move. He leaned toward Nadia and whispered, "Tonight, we disappear the file. Tomorrow, the boy is old news." But Nadia didn't answer. For the first time, her fingers trembled on the table. She was beginning to see that the tide had turned, and her name was now the one whispered in anger. Night had fallen heavy upon the city, its streets bathed in the yellow haze of dim street lamps and the soft glow of hundreds of candles held by the crowd outside the Education Board building. The chants had grown quieter, replaced now by an almost reverent silence, as if the people sensed the weight of the decision being made inside those tall glass walls. Ali stood near the balcony doors, his hands clasped tightly, his heart pounding in the cold. His father sat nearby, silent, worry etched deep in his lined face. Zoya leaned against the wall, her shawl pulled close, her eyes fixed on the meeting table where the board members argued in low, sharp tones. Finally, the board chairman, a thin, silver-haired man with a heavy voice, banged the gavel on the table. The room fell silent. This board, he said slowly, has reviewed the evidence presented by both sides. We have seen the contracts prepared without community approval, the false accusations placed upon this student, and the threats that endangered his family. What was meant to be a place of learning has been turned into a market for greed. A murmur rose around the table. The older councilman stiffened, his jaw tightening, but did not speak. The chairman turned his gaze toward Ali. Ali Ahmed Khan, you have shown great courage. You were insulted, humiliated, threatened, but you stood for the truth. This board officially withdraws the privatization order, suspends all teachers involved pending investigation, and refers the matter of corruption to the Anti-Corruption Bureau. Ali's breath caught. The room erupted with shouts, some angry, some relieved. Mr. Imran exhaled deeply and placed a hand on the boy's shoulder. Miss Nadia, sitting rigid, finally stood. Her composure cracked, her voice trembled but still held a hint of defiance. This is not justice, she hissed. This is a spectacle. Do you think this boy is innocent? Do you think? The chairman cut her off with a cold look. Enough, Miss Nadia. We have already received copies of your personal communications, including your arrangement with the councilman's office. The press will receive the files tonight. Her face drained of color. You can't do this. I was following orders. Orders do not erase responsibility, the chairman said. You will have your day in court. The councilman stood abruptly. This is a farce. Do you know who I am? Ali finally turned to him, his voice steady and clear. We know exactly who you are. And now, so will everyone else. Outside, the crowd erupted as the news broke. Reporters rushed forward as the board's official statement was read aloud. The school would remain public, free for all students, and the corruption network behind the scheme was under federal investigation. Tears welled in Ali's father's eyes as he embraced his son. You did it, Beta. You brought honor not just to our family, but to every poor child who ever felt small. Zoya smiled faintly, her usual sharpness softened for once. Seems those shoes walked a long way, didn't they? Ali looked down at them, scuffed, torn, worn from all the marches and running and standing his ground. A strange pride filled him. They carried the truth, he said quietly. Later that night, as the crowd dispersed and the cameras shut off, Ali found himself standing alone in the now empty school courtyard. The wind carried the faint scent of rain, and the moonlight shone upon the old cracked walls. He thought of that first day, the cruel laughter, the humiliation over something as small as shoes. From behind him, a soft voice spoke. It was Mr. Imran. Do you know why this mattered? The old teacher asked. Ali turned. Because they wanted to take what little we had? Mr. Imran shook his head gently. Because you reminded them what education is supposed to do. It doesn't make the rich richer. It makes the small stand tall. In the weeks that followed, the school began to heal. New policies were put in place, stricter oversight, and for the first time in years, students felt free to speak. Miss Nadia and the councilman faced legal charges. Their faces disappeared from the school walls and reappeared on news channels as examples of betrayal. Ali, once a boy mocked for his torn shoes, now walked the same corridors with quiet dignity. Students greeted him, not as a hero, but as a reminder, courage is contagious. Hamza slapped him on the back one afternoon. I heard they're naming a scholarship after you, he teased. Ali laughed. Then I hope it helps someone who needs it more than I did. Zoya joined them, holding a new pair of shoes in a box. For the march you never wanted to walk, but had to. Ali took them, eyes glinting. No, he said, I'll keep the old ones. These will be for the next fight if it ever comes. The moral. Sometimes, the deepest cuts are made not by knives, but by words spoken without kindness. And sometimes, the strongest walls are torn down not by fists, but by one poor student who decides enough is enough. Standing for truth may cost you your peace, your safety, even your comfort. But it also plants a seed, one that grows into change, and shows the world that dignity cannot be bought or silenced. Never underestimate the power of a single voice, even if it speaks from torn shoes.